Well, hey, girl.
Hey, girl, hey.
All right. So, anybody that knows me knows that I'm like one third of the Still Dope podcast that we talk about Married at First Sight and a bunch of other stuff. Um, and then I got my friend Shayna McDaniel here, and has her YouTube channel called Shayna underscore McD, and we are talking about all things reality TV. Hi, Shayna.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you for having me.
No, I'm glad that you accepted to do this collaboration because both of us watch Ready to Love,
Yes,
and now we're watching Ready to Love Make a Move in New Orleans.
yes.
And let's just get into it. I took
Yeah.
notes. It was episode 10, Mama Knows Best.
This episode got a little heated, so I'm ready to talk about it.
Girl. Okay, so let's just start off with which is do we really want to go there with Ashley and Donald, or do we want to start like the lesser of two evils and just end with Donald and Ashley?
Okay, we can end with 'cause that was
Okay,
the best part of the episode.
all right. So I want to start with Zadia and Cameron.
Okay, let's get into
I
it.
am a little disappointed in Zadia and Cameron. Well, I'm a little disappointed in Zadia because I thought that she would have already picked up on his gaslighting because he is the king of the gaslight at this point.
Yes. But I think we're so close to the end, it wouldn't make sense for her to even try with someone new. So I think she's just seeing it through at this point because we're so close to the end anyway.
Yeah, but I was hoping that she would have just let him go, like at the elimination or when they have their little cocktail party at the
Yeah.
house. I was hoping that she would have been like, you know what, I'm moving on and I choose myself.
But it's too soon to choose herself because we have a whole finale. I think next week she'll choose herself.
I think she will. But he's given her so many. He's given her so many options to say, "Yeah, I'm not here." Like he's kept saying to her, "I don't know if I want to be with you, or if you feel that you can find somebody better that's not going to be as busy as I am, then I wish you well." Like he was like,
And he
"I'm
doesn't
rooting for
stand
you."
on
When
it.
he said, "I'm rooting for you," I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Damn."
He backslides because at that last keepers mixer or whatever, he went back on it and said, okay, well, I think, now that I talked to Tamika, maybe we could work on it. So it's like you're giving her mixed signals, even though she should be able to read between the lines and see what the writing on the wall is obvious. But
Exactly. I think he's a classic gaslighter. I'm not fond of him. I was liking him in the beginning, but I just think he's here for clout.
yes, I've been
And
thinking that for a few
because
weeks.
he keeps talking about work and
Yes.
he wears his necklaces with the, TSC that he
Yeah.
has and he's always talking about the companies that he has, what he
Hmm.
does for work. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's not good look.
I saw another reviewer, who was it? I think it's I Am the Single One, and she pointed out when Zadia went to his home for the first time that he had a T-shirt with like his photography business in the back. I didn't even notice, so I'm like, okay, product placement. So I'm
Oh,
like,
I
okay,
didn't
we know
notice
what
that
he's here
either.
for. Yeah, I'm like, okay, so I mean, I think they're all, mostly everybody probably comes on there for a little bit of clout, but he's just obvious with it at this point.
Yeah, so obvious. And it was the Meet the Family episode tonight, and I mean last night or Friday night. And I'm saying to myself, when I realized it was the Meet the Family episode, I'm saying to myself, we already know Cam is
Right,
bringing a
he's not
friend.
bringing.
He's not bringing a
I don't even. I
family.
didn't think we would do Meet the Family on Make a Move, but I guess we had to incorporate some Ready to Love traditions.
Yeah, yeah. I thought that whole dynamic was awkward because I didn't like the fact that they had all the women. I mean, it was one place.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
But I didn't like the fact that they had all the women sitting together, and then all of a sudden, like each guy shows up and with his people, and it's like, what are we doing here? Do
When
we get
Ashley
up?
and Dawn were sitting there, and then Vernisha was just like, "Well, I don't have anywhere to go." Like, can somebody escort her out, please?
If I was Venetia, I would have just been like, I was surprised that Venetia sat there the entire time. Because I just thought that, because I kept looking at it and I kept saying, Venetia, get your drink and get to go. Like,
and then she was chiming in, like, you shouldn't even be here.
I would have been like, it's wonderful to meet you people, but I got to get up and go sit in the corner and wait for Tabari to show up with my people.
Yeah, especially when they started arguing, and she's like, "Well, I think, like, we don't care what you think. You're not supposed to be here."
Yeah, that was crazy. That was absolutely crazy. So with Zadia and Cameron, I'm just thinking that next week it's going to be a shit show. Not a shit show, but I'm thinking it's going to be where they're just going to break up. Because I think that I think Zadia is all in, but I think that Cameron is like, once this is over and she goes back to DC or wherever she's from, he's going to be out of sight, out of mind. Yeah. Because he kept saying to her, well, maybe we can be more or we can be friends. And she was like, well, what is it? Am I just going to be a homie or am I going to be your girl or what? And he's like, well, we'll see. And I'm like, I'm screaming at the TV, Shayna, like, girl, you're just going to be his new home girl.
But I do think I will give him one little nugget. I'll say, okay, when he mentioned the long distance, she right now, she's just here to date. That's all she's doing. I think when she goes home, if they do stay together at the end, by the time their reunion comes and she's gone home, then she'll say, okay, you know what? Now reality is set in. Like, I don't even hardly see him. He's not making time. They won't be together by the reunion, if nothing else.
Oh, yeah. I think by reunion, she's showing up alone and he'll show up because he needs that extra. He needs that clout. He needs that clout and he needs the advertisement.
You gotta put his Terror Squad chain on, so he has to.
Oh my God, that chain alone. I'm like, bro. And I was on Google when I kept seeing his chain, and I'm like, TSC. And I'm like looking at him, nothing was coming up, but I'm like, well, apparently your businesses aren't all that, because I'm like, I'm doing TSC New Orleans and nothing's coming up.
And we don't know his full name, so we can't look him up by name. I mean, if he was on there just to try to advertise his business, he's not doing a good job.
He's not doing a good job at all.
He should have wore the T-shirt with the name on it instead of having it hanging up in the back where no one's looking.
Exactly, or he should have some wall art.
Yeah, I would have been
with the what do you call it there? The scanning that you can put your phone up and the hashtag that you can like take a screenshot of it and all of that.
That's one of the things that always irritated me about just the regular Ready to Love is that they find these people. Every time I think Crystal XO does interviews and she always asks them like, "How did you get on the show?" And they're like, "Oh, somebody DM'd me, somebody reached out to me." And it's like, stop finding these actors or finding people who want to be on TV to get on these shows. We're the applicants who apply for the show who actually want to find somebody. Why aren't y'all choosing them? Y'all are finding these aspiring wannabes. And then all they want to do is advertise their business.
No, I agree with you. I've been saying this about Married at First Sight when I was watching that and podcasting about that. Same thing with, and I got an inside thing from someone that worked on Married at First Sight, a producer that was like, we recruit these people. And I'm like, well, that's not nice, because at the end of the day, you got people that legit are out there looking to find love. Same thing with Ready to Love, Married at First Sight, and all these other dating shows. Exactly. It's like you got people that are out there that are willingly looking to put themselves, be vulnerable and put themselves out there to find the love of their life. And you guys are out here recruiting people.
Right. And never even watched the show.
Say
These
again.
are people who never even watch the show, don't even
Right.
understand the show's dynamic.
Exactly. And that's what happens when they get on the show, like a Cameron or like a Married at First Sight with I'm not going to say their names, but we're not talking about them. But it's like okay, if I was in my 20s or mid 20s, early 30s, yeah, I'd be like, okay, I'm into this, especially if I have a business or if I'm trying to promote something. I'd be like, okay, I'll sign up for this. If I'm recruited, I'd be like, okay, I'll sign up for this. What do I have to do?
Right. Especially, no kids, nothing to lose. You're free.
Yeah.
I don't see why not. But it shows. I've been watching Married at First Sight since season 1. And the way how much it's changed so much. It's so obvious now. So it's like y'all aren't doing a good job when you're recruiting these people because it's clear as
Yeah.
day. It's inauthentic. And even same thing with Ready to Love. I mean, after the first few seasons, the show always goes downhill. But
Oh yeah.
with maps and then Ready to Love, it's blatant. Like y'all are playing in our faces at this point.
Oh, absolutely. And we're watching.
Right. And I can't turn away. You can't turn away.
I can't turn away. And every year, I've been doing this for the longest time. And every year, I literally have a meltdown. And I'm like, I'm not watching Married at First Sight. I'm not watching Ready to Love. I just can't do this. And then every year I'm like, okay, I'm back. Here we are. I gotta watch it. It's like the guiltiest pleasure of mine. But those are the only two that I will watch because I'm like, I can't do anything else.
Yeah, I
It
gave up
used
on
to
the
be
others.
the Real Housewives,
Oh,
and I was like, I can't do it. It gives me so much anxiety. I'm like, I can't watch that. I can't do
no,
that.
I will watch those, but those have fallen off as well. I mean, none of them are what they used to be.
Yeah,
But I already told you. I mean, I'm giving up on maps this season. I can't give up on Ready to Love. I think it's because it's different. The other shows they have people in their 20s. Like, why do you have somebody that's 27 trying to get married that lives in their mom's basement? That doesn't make any sense.
no.
I like the dynamic of Ready to Love. That's why I just can't seem to let it go.
Yeah, I love the fact of I love Ready to Love because it's ready to love, and it's people like us that are on there.
Right.
Like, look, I've watched how many years of The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, and whatever else, and I'm like, even though I'm a little bright, but I'm like, I can't relate to that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm like, so with the Ready to Love and the Ready to Love Make the Move, I'm invested because I really watch the Ready to Love series with the hopes, like, I want these people to find the loves of their lives and get married and prosper. You know what I mean? I want when it comes to the reunions, I want it to come back and be like, I'm in love with him and I'm in love with her, and here we are.
Yeah, we never get a love story anymore. So there's no couple to root for or anything. A lot of people like Tamika on there versus I mean, I like Nephew Tommy, but but I feel like this dynamic, or they thought it'd be better with everyone living in the house. That's another reason why I kind of like Ready to Love a little better. Everybody's in the house. All the dating shows are always sitting in the house, and then they break up afterwards. So I like that it's supposed to be like real life dating. They're just not doing a good job at it anymore.
No. I do like the concept of Ready to Love, Make the Move. I am familiar with obviously Tamika because I watched, what was the show that she was on?
I think it was Southern Charm, but I didn't watch
Southern Charm New Orleans, yeah. Because I've heard of the Southern Charm franchise, but I didn't watch it because I was like, yeah, I can't relate to that. And then I saw the Southern Charm New Orleans trailer, and I was like, okay, all right, I can relate to this, so I'm gonna watch this. So I like the fact that they chose Tamika to be the host. Yeah, I just don't know if I don't know how this is gonna work out for all these couples.
There's not gonna be any couples this season anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this: Zadia and Cameron, that's not gonna work.
No.
When it comes to the reunion, it's gonna be they're doing their own thing.
Yeah.
let's go to Charisse, who I was stunned when I watched it that she told Nick she was moving in a whole new direction. I
Were
just
you?
I was a little shocked because I thought that she was just so I've never seen her so animated the way she looked at him. I think she wanted to have sex with him.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. I agree with you.
And then
I
I
think
don't know if
she
that's if
really
she
wanted to
wanted to
have
be
sex with
again.
him, but I don't think she wanted to have a whole life with him.
No, I don't really know if she wanted to have sex with him. She saw him the first day and she didn't choose him.
That
So
is true.
I think she didn't have anyone else, and he was there until Maurice came back.
Ugh, let's talk about Maurice.
Yeah, I don't see these two. I don't see anyone making it actually. But I mean, out of all the options, I think these two are actually the best.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So with Maurice and Charisse, I like the fact that he brought his cousin and his daughter because at the end of the day, he said, what did he say? He had like 4 kids, and he brought at least one of them
Yeah.
to the meet and greet, and she, has a good head on her shoulders, and the way she was talking to Charisse, I saw that dynamic was getting along really well, and I was hopeful for them. But again, my head was like, really, Charisse? He was here from the beginning, and
Yeah.
even though he wasn't really talkative, he was just, he's just trying to figure you out
Yeah.
and
You don't think
see.
he was confident? I thought he was overly confident.
I thought he was confident. I don't think he was overly confident. I think he was just kind of like that guy that, and his daughter kind of like made some statements about it during the family meet when she was like, he does this is what he does for a living,
Hmm.
and he's kind of like guarded, and he doesn't really say too much, but once he's in, he's in.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll take that. But I don't know. I just think that he was kind of going in with Charisse, and Charisse for me, I was like, when she's like, "Oh, we're on the same page," and I'm like, "You're not really on the same page,"
No.
because I'm like, "You're not really on the same page because if you thought you was on the same page, you would have been on the same page from the beginning when you
Right.
met him and went out with him. You knew what he did for a living. You
Yeah.
knew what his background was. You knew how much. Well, not really. You knew how much money that he had, but you knew that he was good,
Yeah.
but he just wasn't communicating to you, and you just immediately dismissed him. Now you bring him back to the fold, and now all of a sudden he steps up and he's a little bit more communicative, and she's like, "Oh, okay, and we can go to," what did she say? She's like, "We can yeah, I forgot what she said to him about, his status financially. And she's
Hmm.
like, "Oh, yeah, we'll be able to go on trips and all of that." And immediately my red flag went up, and I was like, "Come on, Charisse."
Right. She's not even discreet about it. But I think that's the only thing that attracted her in the first place. He wasn't talking. The reason why I felt like he was overly confident is because he didn't feel like he had to do anything. He's like,
Right.
I'm good. I don't need to do anything. I don't need to say anything. Like, I'm here. What else do I need to do? I got you flowers on the first date. I don't need to
Right.
do anything else. So I think it was a wake up call for him when she actually let him go. But I mean, they're still not really talking about anything that, maybe
No,
surface level. That's it. I'm like, I'm surprised he actually bought his daughter. I personally probably wouldn't bring anyone that close to me, not on this show.
never. Not me. I would have done a Cameron, and
Yeah,
I'd have brought a friend.
yeah, I'm pretty best.
A
Maybe
friend
a
that
cousin
I've
or
known.
aunt.
I would have
Maybe.
brought a friend, or I'd have done a Donald, and I'd have brought like a friend, like 2 friends
Right.
that I've known for a little bit, and let them have it. I'm not bringing my family to
No.
meet somebody that at the end of the day,
Right.
this
This is
isn't possibly
annoying.
gonna work.
Maybe a cousin because it's like, okay. But I mean, people are bringing their moms, their kids. That's too close.
That's way too close. Speaking of moms, well, let's just go to Vernisha and Tabari. I literally was like in a chokehold when he walked in with his Not only his mama, his brother. I was like, ooh, you brought the VIPs to the table.
And he also made a comment like, "Oh, what did he say?" He said, "Yeah, because I'm ready for marriage." And I was like, "Marriage? How? Haven't y'all known each other only like 2 weeks?"
Right. But I think you know what? I will say this. Out of all the couples on the last episode, the episode that we're talking about, I'm thinking that they are the strongest couple because I was looking at the body language with Venetia and his mom and Venetia and his brother. And it was kind of like I didn't see any really red flags, with the exception of the outfits, but we'll talk about that. Jesus.
But did you look at the body language between Vernisha and Tabari? Because the body language between them is, to me, a red flag. They're always so distant. Like the space, she's leaning away. They're sitting far apart. I don't think she likes him.
No, I think I don't know. I don't know if she. Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know about that.
I was tolerating him. I think she likes him as a friend.
Go ahead. Say.
Oh, no, I was gonna say I just think she likes him as a friend. I don't think she's interested. She seemed more interested in Jabari. She's not. She doesn't seem interested in Tabari.
Yeah. I mean, I think she tested him a lot with the whole, you didn't text me, you didn't call me, you didn't check in on me. And now he's like, okay, I'm stepping up. And then after she met his mom and his brother, and then they went to the rooftop restaurant in New Orleans, I was like, okay. And he looked like he was putting in work.
Yeah. I think he likes her, but I don't think she likes him. Really? No, not like that. Especially after seeing how she interacted with Jabari. Like, no, I never thought she was really into him. I think she's just trying to make it to the end. I think she likes his mom. She said that his mom makes her like him more. So I think maybe that helped. But I don't see anything happening with these two.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, at this point, they were my solid two. That I was like, after the last episode, I was like, well, maybe we have one couple that'll make it out of this, and like not get married, but like it still be involved when we get to the reunion next week, or the last episode next week, and then the reunion after that.
The only reason why they may stand a chance is because she said she travels to New Orleans anyway. So, because I mean, you have to really, for long distance, you have to really want to put in a lot of work and effort, and they're not even want to put in the work and effort now. So it's like you're not going to want to do it long distance.
Yeah, I will say this: when the show first started, and it was like Ready to Love, Make the Move, I was like, who's gonna make the move?
Yeah, like, I didn't like that. Why did the women have to make a move? Like, I didn't.
Exactly. And I'm like, even though, you've got Miami, you've got DC, you've got, where's Ashley from? I can't remember where Ashley's from. Atlanta. All right. So you have Atlanta, DC, Miami, and Houston. Alabama. Or Mississippi. Where's Venetia from again?
Houston.
Well, she's the closest at this point.
So that might work. Yeah. I mean, I don't think she likes him enough.
Venetia and Tabari could possibly work if it came down to a make the move. I don't like the title, make the move, because when you're dealing with people that are in their 40s,
who wants to up and move?
I'm not up and moving, especially if you have a career and business is built. Like, I'm not moving.
I was surprised she said she was open to, I think Renisha was the only one who said something about being open to it, but it's like you already established businesses there. Granted, I mean, if your kids are grown now, you're free to go. But if you already have your life established there, you're just going to pick up and move. Yeah, I don't see it. And she mentioned he had a child in Mississippi. So I'm like, how is that? I don't see it working. And we never found out how old this child is. So,
yeah, I don't know how old the child is, but I'm assuming the child is younger. Like her kids are adults and doing their thing. I don't think that his kid is I don't even think his kid is like teenager.
Yeah, and she's saying you're traveling back and forth. I don't want to do that. So there's no way.
Yeah, no, I don't see at this point. I don't see any of them making it. Even though I was hopeful for Venetia and Tabari, at this stage, I just don't see any of them making it.
Renisha and Tabari never gave me that warm, fuzzy feeling. Like they never gave me the feels. So I was never hoping for. I was surprised he lasted as long as he did. I thought she was gonna let him go.
I agree. They just, yeah, he's just like, yeah, they don't look like a fit for me.
Yeah.
Even though I like them, they just, I would never, I was stunned when she gave up Jabari.
Yeah, but that wasn't gonna work. But she did seem to like him. I don't think it was gonna work. She knew it was gonna work, but she actually seemed like she liked him. She
Yeah,
even cried when she let him go.
really liked him. I think she really, really liked Jabari. And I think when the episode where their friends came into town,
Mhm.
I think that was telling for her that she was like, yeah, no, because he was basically like, he was the polar opposite of her. Even though she liked him and it could have worked out, he was like the polar opposite. He's like, I want to go to bed. I will say this personally, Jabari is like my dream man because Jabari is like, I want to go to bed. I shut it down. Like, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, I'm in the bed or I'm just winding it down. And I was just like, okay, Jabari.
Yeah.
Really,
But for her lifestyle, I think that's why she is sticking with Tabari because he makes more sense. He can relate to her with entrepreneurship and that flexible schedule. And Tabari was no nonsense. I think if he was like, well, you know what, I'm willing to compromise. Some days I'll stay up with you. Some days we can sleep in. He was no nonsense. Like, no, I'm in bed by 9 o'clock every night. And I expect you to be too. And it's just like, that's not relationships don't work. That's a dictatorship.
No.
At this point.
Yeah, and Jabari was giving off dictatorship vibes on that one.
Yeah.
He was not trying to budge. He was
It
like, I
a
go to bed, I have my routine, and I was like, ooh, bro, if you want to be in a relationship or a committed relationship in a marriage, that's not gonna work.
That's not gonna work.
Not gonna work.
Or at least don't complain about her being out and about. Like, I've never had a problem. I think he told Liz, like, I've never had a problem with a woman not wanting to go to bed at 9 o'clock with me. Like, well, where are they? Where are they? The relationship didn't work. So. Exactly.
But girl, let's get to the conversation at hand. Ashley, all I'm gonna say is Ashley should have never been on the show. She's got too much baggage, and she needed to work her shit out when she was on the original Ready to Love. And oh boy, I can't remember his name, but oh boy, that got sick. And she was on the reunion boo-hooing, and I was boo-hooing with her because I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry that you had to go through this. My heart was bleeding for her. But and then I guess they stayed together and he did her wrong. And I'm saying to myself, girl, you got to figure it out. You can't come back and go through these motions.
She never picked it up with him either. Like he was, from what I don't remember the first season vividly, but I thought he wanted someone else. And then she was like his second choice. So I felt like
he didn't really want her. He did have a first choice. And I forgot who it was, but it was like close to the end.
Yeah, he made a decision.
He ended up getting with her.
I think he wanted someone else. And she never picks up on the fact that these men they don't want her.
No.
Whoever she wants, they don't seem to want her back. And like that's what she wants. She likes the toxicity.
Yeah. And she is just oof. I like Ashley as a person. I like her energy a little bit, but she is just way too much, and she's way too much for Donald. But I will say this, with the family meeting, I got to give her a little bit of grace because his female friend that came in, she came in hot. He literally walked in, sat down. Venetia was there. Like she didn't they all introduced each other, and it was like she didn't even care that Venetia was waiting on her people. She was just like, But it made me think you're so aggressive and you're this and that. And I was like, oh, I was clutching my pearls like, girl.
And it's like, well, what is he telling the friend that would even make her walk in that way? Because he's like, oh, Donald's just sitting there quiet. He's not helping me. I'm burning in a fire. He won't rescue me. He's the one that's telling his friend this information. She walked in and she already had an agenda. Like she knew what she wanted to say. So he's been
Oh yeah.
complaining for a while.
And that's why he sat there with his head down. And I was glad that Bernicia stepped up and said something because I mean, poor Ashley was sitting there like trying to defend herself with this
Yeah.
woman, and Donald was just sitting there like, and Bernicia says something to him, and she's looking at him like, bruh, like,
Yeah.
figure it out.
Well,
What's going on? Like,
it's
defend the woman. This is the woman he has been consistently showing up for Ashley.
I don't trust him though. I never did. The first day, I'm like, he always tells her what he thinks she wants to hear, what he thinks sounds right. I feel like he had a motive. He just wanted to be on TV as well. I never thought he really, but I didn't think Ashley would. When Kirsten came back around, was it last week, and she saw him again? It's like, Ashley, do you really think you're mistreating Donald all of a sudden because you saw Kirsten?
Right. Yeah, I didn't like her. I didn't like the way she went about it with Donald when she got back when she went on the date with Kirsten and then came back to Donald and she was like, "Well, there's somebody else in play."
Yeah, I mean, it was childish.
Yeah, it was just so juvenile, and I was just like, he Donald's on the show like you are on the show, and I'm sure he knows that you're going to see other people or potentially have a second date with another person that you've been romantically linked with. And it's like, but I don't need you to throw that up in my face. I get where Donald is coming from with all of that. But child, when he said when after the family meeting and his girl was all in Ashley's face, and then they came back to their dinner. He was like, Donald is one of them silent killers. Like and I commend him for that because I could never be like that. If I'm dating somebody or if I'm talking to somebody and they're always like in my face with their mess, I'm losing my shit. Yeah. Donald gave her grace. And when they had dinner and he brought a little balloon with the rose inside and the lights, and they're having that conversation, when he parted his mouth, he's like, it's giving DMX. I was like, I flatlined.
But I don't, the timing of it all, I feel like he was holding that in because when he said those things like, Erin, you got your fingers in my face and she wasn't doing any of that in that moment. So I'm like, you must have been holding this in from however many times she did it before. Now you're letting it out. You've been holding it in. Now you're just exploding. So you're like, DMX, you're aggressive. And she wasn't. And she's cutting him off. She didn't cut him off. So it's like the things you're saying actually aren't happening. You should have said how you felt before instead of saying it to your friend. Ashley.
Yeah. And again, it's probably because of a conversation that he had with his friend, his female friend.
Yeah.
That came up. And yeah, I just, yeah.
I mean, we needed Ashley for the show. She kind of carried it on her back for a few weeks. And Sharice is born. Nobody else had anything going on besides Addie and Cameron. So we needed Ashley for the drama. But this, I don't know. I think he's tired of her. I was surprised to see them on a date next week. I thought this was over with, but
me too. I usually try not to watch the previews of the previous week or the next week, but that was so explosive when she walked away. I was like, I'm just gonna sit here.
I gotta see.
And then when it came on, I was watching it and I was like, wait a damn minute.
I was surprised they showed it. Like no suspense or nothing. Like we thinking he's gone, and then you let us know he's there next week.
I mean, and not for nothing. After this, like they were legit sitting on the couch, like he with each other, like they were in love. And I'm just like, I was watching the previews, and I was like, wait a damn minute. I just knew that the previews was going to be Ashley is going back home to Atlanta. And she's moving on her life and helping, and getting some therapy and doing better in herself. And I'm like, You are back on the couch with Donald.
Right. That was crazy. I wonder if she's still talking to Kirsten. Now, when it came to the wardrobe thing, and she's like, I like a certain aesthetic. It's like Ashley. If he would have been like, I don't like those long nails and those long lashes, she would have been having a fit. It was just unnecessary. The way her delivery was just.
All those outfits, let's just talk about it. It's like all of those outfits. I'm sitting here like,
Yeah.
you know,
If you like a certain aesthetic, like you just got some stuff off of Fashion Nova, and that's like, I like a certain aesthetic. Like, girl, please.
That is straight up Fashion Nova, Shein, and whatever the hell else you're plopping off the internet. Because I'm looking at these women, I'm like, you guys are like in your 40s or late 30s, 40s, and I'm like, if you have to keep tugging,
let it go.
Let it go. Like Ashley, like one of the episodes, Ashley wore a dress, which is a very nice dress. Mini skirt, hoisted up the tatas and everything. And I was like, well, I kind of like that. But every 3 minutes, she was like tugging, pulling. And I'm like, I don't have the energy anymore to do all that. Like, I'm just gonna wear something that's comfortable.
I picked her up and like spun her around, and she's like, wait, like I gotta pull my skirt down. It's like. And I think, her body, it's nice, but a lot of guys don't like the long nails and the long lashes. And she gets offended when people say something. So it's like you turn around on the person who's complimenting you on those things. And it's like, oh, you're always wearing those loafers. He's been wearing them all this time now to issue.
I agree with his friend on that one, though, because he is who he is.
Right. And it must have affected him because he changed his wardrobe that day.
Yeah.
So it hit a little sore spot for him. His friend probably heard that, like, she said, what? I'm gonna tell her about herself.
True. I agree. But I just don't, I feel like this is the guy that you like. And I agree. I'm on the fence of certain things are fixable, like hair, like makeup, like outfits and stuff. But I'm not gonna call a man out on that immediately. You know what I mean? That's fixable shit. You can't fix ugly. I mean, without some plastic surgery, and that involves a whole lot of money. But I'm thinking outfits and shoes, and she just wasn't letting it. She wasn't letting it go. She was like, "Oh, your hair, your back."
I thought she was joking. Yeah, I thought she was making a little joke. Like, okay, but it's like you're serious, and there's ways that you can say it. Like, oh, grab from something. Oh, I saw this for you. I thought you were like nice in this shirt. Why don't you? Do you mind wearing this one tonight? Because I really thought you looked good. And I mean, it's the way she delivered it. It's just like, you don't really like him. Even a childish. Oh, there's another guy that I'm talking to. If I was on a date and some man told me that, like, okay, we'll go talk to her. Nice knowing you.
Well, because here's the deal. She has Donald, who is kind of like laid back. And then she has Kirsten, who was steadily showing up with a nice outfit, jacket, pants, a hat, good shoes, whatever, a nice shirt. He was bringing it to the table, but she still wasn't satisfied because, when she said, remember when I think it was like 2 episodes ago when she's like, I'm going to move in a different direction. And he was like, Kirsten was like, okay. And she got offended by that.
Right. She wanted him to change.
You're not going to fight for me? And he's like, what do you want me to do? And I'm yelling at the TV like, yeah, actually, what do you want to do? You done told me.
You wanting somebody to chase after you and like y'all been together. Like, he doesn't like you. Let him go. He does not like you. Like, he never did. But it's like for her to tell Donald, like, oh, you're with these stuffy suits. And it's like Kirsten wears suits too. But you just don't like Donald. Right. Donald was good enough until you saw Kirsten.
I just think that poor Ashley needs to just take a beat, and she needs to stay the hell off of these reality shows for a minute and get herself together. I think that this was too soon for her to come on this. I mean, albeit she's been entertaining and I like her, I just think that she wasn't the right person to bring back to this first episode of Ready to Love, Make the Move.
It's funny because she hasn't been on since season 1. So it's like you would think she would be healed by now or whatever.
You
But
think?
we wouldn't have really liked the show had she not been on there. It's just towards at first I was like, okay, Mia, she's a little has insecurity issues. She needs some therapy. But now towards the end, I'm like, oh girl, you're not making yourself
Yeah.
look good.
Well, again, like we talked about earlier, it was like when she walked off, like she left this little balloon. I mean, he made the effort, bought her a little lit balloon with the flower in it, and she just got it. Was like, I can't believe he called me DMX. And she walked off like she's like, da, da, da. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, seeing the previews, and I'm like, what the? I need a backstory.
Yeah,
Like
and it's
the
funny.
next the episode that comes on next week, I'm gonna need a little backstory. Like
Yeah,
I can't
definitely.
have the episode starting with her. I don't care about everybody else, but I can't have that episode starting of her and Donald like back to normal.
No.
No, I'm gonna need a little backstory and a little conversation.
Yeah.
Something needs to happen. Tamika needs to get up in there and bring them two together and sit them down and have a come to Jesus with them, and then we can move forward to the clips of when they were on the couch all lovey-dovey, because that was
Well, every week they've been doing a to be continued. So it's like they probably gonna pick up from where she stormed off. But she said she didn't feel anything or nobody's made her feel special when Kristen gave her those flowers and them chocolates. And it's like Donald's been bringing flowers and chocolates, but it only feels special when Kirsten does it. Like you say, nobody made you feel special, but the person that you've been picking been bringing them too.
Exactly. Listen, I am all for it. I am invested in the regular Ready to Love, and I'm invested in Ready to Love Make a Move. And a little bit of me like wants to apply and go on it.
Too.
It's ridiculous, but I'm too old. But I'm like,
No, you're not. You're right at the perfect age. That's why we like Ready to Love, because
absolutely love it.
We don't have 20-something-year-olds. We have people with kids. We got people with careers. We got people who have own homes. Like it's like people are established. So that's
exactly.
I at least want to go on regular Ready to Love. I'll be on the mixer if nothing else, so I can plug my YouTube channel. Everybody else is plugging their stuff.
Huh?
Everybody else is plugging their stuff. I can at least go on Ready to Love and mention my YouTube channel.
Amen. I'll be right there behind you, right with you. Like, hey, girl. Before we sign off, we have to. That's why I write notes. We have to talk about Sharice and Zadia. What the hell is them two's problem?
They both were mean girls on their season. So I knew there was going to be some clashing going on. There's just no way. But it's funny. They call each other mean girls. And it's like both of y'all hot meat kettle. I don't understand.
Exactly. I agree with you. Like when that threw me for a loop, because I didn't know that RJ, I mean, I knew that RJ and Sharice were like really good friends. But when that threw me for a loop when Zadia was like, oh, you kissed him on the mouth.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer of when Sharice went off the hinge and started like going left, I was like,
yeah,
there's a little bit of truth to that. Because if it wasn't true, if I was Sharice, I would have been like, what are you talking about? Like, he's my friend. I just kissed him on the mouth and sent him on his way. It was no big deal.
Yeah.
And I would have let it go. But Sharice took it to a whole nother level where I was like,
yeah,
Zadia might be right here on this one.
And sometimes I can see someone getting offended if it's like, I didn't do something and you're lying on me. But the way she just like, why are you kissing LJ on the mouth? What's the reason for you to kiss your friend on the mouth? I've never kissed a friend on the mouth. Y'all are kissing on the lips.
I have a male friend. I have two male friends that I've known since high school. I don't kiss them on the mouth. When I see them and they're both married with children, I see them, we get up and it's like, hi.
Yeah.
We do the cheek pat.
Right.
and the backpack, like, okay, hey,
like a little church.
keep it moving. That's all
Yeah.
I need. But I
And if
need to
you
see
married with kids,
her.
I don't even know if I want you close to my cheeks. Just, just wave from afar.
Well, yeah, through that. At this stage in life, it's
Yeah,
like a fist bump or something.
yeah, just
Fist
say
bump
hey.
or something.
That's why that
Mm.
whole women and men being friends, that I guess it's just a slippery slope.
It
And I don't know,
is.
I feel like I never met anyone at some point. You could be platonic friends, but I feel like at some point someone was interested in someone else, even if you both at the same time weren't, dealing with
Mhm.
dating. But it's like somebody might have caught feelings at some point, and so it just gets to be tricky.
Oh, absolutely. Let's kick back to Donald. Like, I'm pretty sure that that woman is his friend,
Yeah.
but she was just so passionate.
Yeah. If the door cracked, because she's like, I don't think, we feel like he's the prize. Like, if you want him, just say that.
Right.
Just say
Right.
that.
Or I wouldn't have. Here's the thing. Of course, I haven't been on TV like that ever. But it's like, if he is the prize and I really want to be with him, if I was his friend, the female friend, I wouldn't have shown up for the family and friend meeting. I would have just pulled his ass aside and said, you know what? I'm in love with you. I like you. I want to see where this goes, whatever. But of course, it's not going to make for good TV. And that's why she
Right.
had to show up and show her whole ass.
She probably knows she's in the friend zone. So she's like, I'd rather have you as a friend and show up and ruin your relationships than not have you at all.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm. And that's a whole nother conversation. You
yeah,
know, that's
I
a
can actually
whole
see
other
him with
topic
you.
about friends and people that are in your inner circle that just are literally trying to, you know,
Yeah.
demolish your happiness.
Right. She's clearly trying to break that up, and she's succeeding. She was doing a
Oh
good
yeah,
job.
she is succeeding. Yeah. Well, we'll see next week.
Yeah, we'll see next week.
Um,
I think
oh
he
yeah.
liked all the drama. That's why he it's like two women fighting over him. Like men like that. So, and he
Of
said every
course.
relationship he's had has been toxic. And I'm like, every single one, you're the problem.
Men love that.
Yeah.
And see, and this is why I've retired from dating, because I'm like, you know
Oh,
what? I'm
yes.
not involving myself in that
It's
nonsense. We good. I'm
awful.
so good. I don't need that
It's
toxicity
so
in my
bad
life.
out here. I don't, as every woman, and it's crazy. It doesn't matter how old you go into a bathroom with women, and it can be like from 80 down, and it's like the same complaints. When does it end? So,
It doesn't end. It's ridiculous. But that's a whole nother conversation.
yeah.
Anyway, um, don't log off.
Okay.
We're going to end this and move on, and hopefully next week we'll see what happens,
Yeah.
and maybe hopefully we can we have this collab with Shayna and me, and we can bring it and talk about it next week.
Yeah.
So
It'll be
yeah,
good next week.
let's do it. All right, girl. So yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.